Hello, everybody, wherever you may be in the world. Hola a todos, un saludo desde España. This is Carlos Cendra speaking from Menorca, a small and lovely island in the Mediterranean Sea in Spain that I hope you all know. First of all, I would like to thank to World Travel Market Latin America and the Global Travel and Tourism Resilience Council for the opportunity of being here and speaking today with all you. Today, as a partner and marketing manager for Mabrian Technologies, a company specialized in travel intelligence services and data analytics, I'm here to proclaim that the data is not the answer. The data is not the solution of the sector right now. And that's probably something surprising and even strange to hear from someone who's supposed to be selling big data services, isn't it? But let me tell you one thing. I think that's the main mistake that the sector is facing today. What the sector needs, it's not data, it's not big data. We must forget about this. The sector needs answers, right? That's the key thing. And to get that, what we need is information. And I think this is something to keep in mind. And I wanted to point it out, right? How many of you right now are facing huge projects of structuring your own data, even getting external data, creating data lakes, creating dashboards, reports, in addition of your daily responsibilities, right? This is kind of difficult to face today. And I'll use a pretty simple example to exemplify how I see this problem today for the sector. As I said, it's a pretty simple, maybe too much simple example, but it's going to be useful for me for explaining our vision of how we see that, right? For me, it's like if you're trying to feed your family using wheat, trigo in Spanish, instead of buying bread, right? In the history, the wheat is the data, right? It's the raw material, and you cannot eat the wheat. You cannot digest that wheat. You cannot feed yourself with that. You need something elaborated from the wheat to have something valuable at the end, right? And the bread is the information, right? It's built by that raw materials. Today, the sector is facing one of the deepest crises that we have ever met, and there is no time to be making tests about different recipes, about cooking and how to get a good result. We must be much more agile and much more resilient to the constant changing environment, right? So you'd better have a bakery close to your place to have that help, right? You need to be much more agile. But let me make a step down and explain you the path in between the raw material, the data, and the elaborated product that would be the travel intelligence, right? Basically, it's the way we cook that bread, following the example. To do that, I will use a slide that I like that much, the pyramid of the big data, to explain all the process from the base to the top in order to get that travel intelligence. Well, here it's pretty clear the matter of quantity and quality, right? In the base, what we find is the raw materials, the data, right? The wheat, this is something, as I said, that we cannot digest and probably we cannot use, right? When we grind, we treat, we filter, and we aggregate all that wheat, what we get is flour, right? This is something that has an added value already. That would be the information, right? That's one thing that we can start using, right? When we get information from different sources, from different prisms at the same time, and we can cross-analyze it, we get to the next step and we get knowledge, right? Which is something much more valuable. And using the same example of the bread cooking, that would be when we add the salt, the yeast, the water, we have the correct oven to cook it, and we have the recipe, the cooking time, etc., to get a good final result of all that ingredients, right? That would be what we call the knowledge, the bread. But now we still have a step forward in order to get to the what we call intelligence. And this is not probably an easy step, and it's getting specific answers from that knowledge and finally making decisions, specific decisions. That's one of the keys, right? And using again the same example of the bread, that would be preparing a sandwich and eating it, right? If not, we will have the bread, but we won't feed us. Okay, I know it's pretty simple, but I think it's clear, right? And now you may think, well, even if I have the bread, I will probably have many doubts about the type of sandwich I should eat, even though when I've been following the same diet for such a long time, and for the same diet, I mean making the decisions the same way for the last, let's say, 20, 30, 40 years, right? It's normal. This change on the diet, it's comparable to the change of the mindset that we are asking for to the sector, right? It's a change of the mindset to get to data-driven decisions. To do that, you may need support of experts, right? You may need an analysis of what's your status today, to create a roadmap in terms of making small changes to get to this new diet, this new mindset of making decisions, right? To do that, you need experts, obviously. And in this case, that would be our nutritionist, let's say, right? To help you to change that diet. So by now, I hope you are already convinced that of the potentiality and the need of using information on your process of making decisions, right? But one of the key challenges is to make this in real time, right? Since the context is really fast changing, and we are living now one of the biggest examples we ever seen due to the pandemic. Everything is changing really fast, so we might do all that steps at the real time and really fast, right? Here is where the technology can help us a lot. The big data technologies and artificial intelligence applied to this can help us to do this at a real time, right? And now I will point out again what we need, right? What we need, it's real time global information, right? I know it's simple, but it's I want to keep simple, right? It might be global in order to identify dynamics in every part of the world. We know now that everything happening, something happening in the other part of the world can change the dynamic in our destination in a few days, right? Or even in a few hours. So you better have a global approach and really update it to get all that information, right? And this is not something for recovering for this crisis. This is something that it's vital in order to survive, in order to be resilient on a sector, on a reality which is changing. We cannot be resilient to something if we don't detect it, right? And this is one of the key questions: being agile and being resilient. Okay, so let me show you a couple of examples of how we can use information in order to detect this fast changing environment and making decisions, right? Okay, this is a pretty simple example as well, and really straightforward. What we see here is the evolution of Sao Paulo's air connectivity, inbound air connectivity for the next 3 months. The air connectivity for us, how we call that, is the access facility to a destination, right? What we see here, comparing 2019 and 2021 for the same period, we can see how the top 10 countries by air seats to get to Sao Paulo has changed pretty much, right? We can see how source markets like Germany, Qatar, Panama, and Mexico has appeared in the top 10 when other countries like France, Italy, Peru, and Colombia are out, right? This is such a big change on the main sources for a destination. And this is something that must be tracked and analyzed in order to identify if that trends have come to stay. For example, if that German visitors will repeat or will make that source market grow for the destination, right? It's a simple example, but very clear. Okay, what we see here, it's another example with the Latin destination, in this case Cancun, in the Mexican Caribbean, where we compare two different indicators to analyze the evolution of the destination in terms of demand for the U.S. market, right? We see in the bright blue line the perceived security perception evolution during the last 4 years, and in the dark blue line we see the evolution of the demand, right? The share of demand of Cancun for that market, right? And if you see, they show an opposite trend, which make a lot of sense. During the last years, Cancun, which is a really known destination for the US market, was losing a part of his perception and demand in terms of security and also inspirational demand, right? We can see how 2018 and 19 was going down, and then in 2020 going up quickly and maintaining pretty well in 2021 in terms of security perception. That could sound strange due to the situation, right? And if we follow the demand line was going down to 2020, but now in 21 is pointing up once again. How you can explain that in a situation where we are facing a huge crisis of a pandemic? Well, Cancun it's a pre-known destination in US, and the effect of the uncertainty of the context makes that the source market, the US travelers, feel much more confident for Cancun than traveling to other destination, to a new destination, discover a new destination. So they prefer to repeat probably once again, not for a second time, to Cancun, where they know and they feel safe and close to home, instead of looking for other destinations. So this crisis has turned in an opportunity for Cancun to rebuild the demand and the market from US, right? Furthermore, the authorities of Quintana Roo in Cancun and the the Mexican Caribbean are working hard to get that demand back, right? So that's one of the changes on the context that can be or must be monitored by information in real time, right? Let's check the last example. In this case, we are traveling to Europe to see an example here, and regarding the UK source market for the European destinations, right? As you all know, UK is one of the biggest source markets in Europe. Only in 2019, more than 90 million of outbound trips were recorded from UK, right? So it's one of the most important markets for the South European destinations, vacational destinations here in Europe, right? What we are seeing now in UK, due to the context again, and not only the pandemic, also the Brexit situation, also the exchange rate, the promotion of the government of UK in terms of getting their citizens staying at the country to get their vacations, what we call staycation, right? What we see a clear trend of British people staying their own country or doing domestic vacations during these years and 2020. But as has this situation, this trend something to do with the next year. It is here to stay. But what we analyzed is the satisfaction and the perception of the Brits when staying at their own country doing vacation, right? What we see here in this slide is how the interest, the satisfaction, the perception, it's growing in general terms, right? Also, the access facility for domestic travel has increased 90%, and the demand has multiplied by 3, right? Also, some interests like nature, family, and wellness are growing. So all these seems to say that the Brits are having a really good time, are enjoying that vacation at home in UK, and this trend can stay. Well, we can also see how the climate perception can be the main problem for UK, right? For that staycation, since you can see how that's the factor or the indicator which is less valued, since the expectation they have for a vacation in summer probably is not faced when staying in UK so far, right? And this is obviously something difficult to change. Okay, in recap, we have seen, I think, really clear examples of how important is having information based in data analytics in real time to getting that contextual trends in the travel, right? From air connectivity, from demand evolution, security perception, the domestic trends, travel in UK, all of that examples are explaining the importance of having that contextual and real-time information, right? Well, I don't want to take you so much time, so I want to thank you for your attention. Muchas gracias a todos, muito obrigado, and I will be happy to get any type of consult that you may have, right? I will share now my contact details. Thank you very much.